Oh girl, I need some lip gloss. Hold up, wait a minute.
You won't find nobody better than I. Who better than Kai? Rhetorical, don't need no reply. Nah, I'm sensual caramel with a touch of butter. Best of both worlds, sophisticated in them gutters.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell right next to it so you can be notified every time your girl uploads a new video, which is absolutely every week. That's every Tuesday and Saturday. You guys get to see me and gonna get this video a thumbs up because you know it's gonna be lit. We get to on and pop and keep it rocking. We ain't stopping, period. In today's video, you guys, I want to talk about having a scalp condition and all of the trials and tribulations that comes with it. You guys know I suffer from both alopecia areata as well as seborrheic dermatitis, and dealing with both is like two different types of, I don't know, dealing with both conditions is like a whole lot of trampled on top of one another. Now, with alopecia areata, I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what alopecia areata is. There are many forms of alopecia, but because I suffer with alopecia areata, to be specific, that is mainly what I am going to be focusing on and talking about. Alopecia areata is the sudden hair loss that starts with one or more circular bald patches that may overlap. Alopecia areata occurs when the immune system attacks hair follicles and may be brought on by severe stress. My first time dealing with alopecia areata happened 2 years ago. I won't say last year, but it happened 2 years ago. That was my first time experiencing alopecia. I never in a million years thought I would be dealing with alopecia. And me, the only form of alopecia I ever knew about was the alopecia where every part of your body would be bald, like your eyebrows, your head. That is the only form of alopecia I have ever known about growing up. So when I started developing patches in my head, and I went to the dermatologist and found out that I had alopecia areata, that is when I knew alopecia came in many forms. It's crazy that you can grow up and only know knowledge of certain things and not more than one, and then growing up you start to be able to research for yourself, and you see and you find out things that you wish you would have known when you were younger. So that was my case. I didn't know about alopecia areata, and when I learned about it and I realized that I had bald patches coming out of my head, girl, it kind of was taking me aback. And when I found out that I had alopecia, that was also the year that I started my weight loss journey. So when I found out I had alopecia, that's when I really started taking my diet serious. That's when I switched up my diet and I started working out and I started losing weight, and my hair started growing back, as well as going to the dermatologist and getting prescribed a cream that I no longer have access to. And that's one of the things that I beat myself up about the most, because after I went to the dermatologist, I've been to the dermatologist twice, and after those 2 times I haven't been back. I went the first time. That's when I got prescribed the steroid cream that helped to grow my hair back. And once I ran out, I tried to make another appointment, and I ended up going to this next appointment when my hair fell out the second time, and she didn't prescribe me the steroid that I needed. She prescribed me something for seborrheic dermatitis. That's when I found out that I had seborrheic dermatitis along with alopecia areata. So she didn't prescribe me the cream that I needed. She only had given me the shampoo. And girl, I really feel like as those of us who suffer with these scalp conditions, when we go to the dermatologist, and especially if you're dealing with a condition such as alopecia areata that can recur over and over and over again, you can't just use a substance that is prescribed to you once and think that the problem is going to be completely gone, because with alopecia areata, it can come back, especially if you're not, I think as dealing with this condition, I think that we have to make sure that we are taking the absolute necessary precautions, and that includes going to the dermatologist every time they feel like you need to come to them. I kept giving the dermatologist the runaround last year, and I'm not even gonna flex on y'all. I just felt like, okay, my hair had grown back, then what am I going to the dermatologist for? That's unnecessary money that I'd be spending, because my hair had grown back. I was using I started using the Canvas Beauty brand. I'm like, you know, this line is helping my hair to grow back. I stopped using the cream, so I felt like, okay, since I've been using this line, it's growing back perfectly. So get here to 2020, that's when everything trumpered down, and that's when I realized, you know what? I'm dealing with this scalp condition. I can't play games with it. This is not something that you can just, you know, one and done. You know, you can just feel like, okay, since you use this cream. And then that's the thing with me, hard-headed. I'm hard-headed because I researched alopecia areata. If I'm dealing with something, I'm gonna make sure I do some strenuous research. And I researched, and saw that if you don't continue to take the necessary precautions, that it can come back. Your hair can fall back out in those patches. So that was my fault. Even though, you know, the eczema triggered the seborrheic dermatitis in my scalp, I still suffer from my hair, the patches coming back out of my head as well, because I stopped using the stuff that was needed to help me to keep myself going with alopecia areata. So you can't just feel like, okay, it just because it grew back this one time that it won't happen again. It can happen again, especially if you're somebody who worries and stress a hell of a lot. And when my hair started thinning out from the seborrheic dermatitis, because my hair, if you guys saw when I did those videos, like, my hair wasn't that bad at first. Like, it started coming out, it started just thinning in that one little area. It was just itching in that one little area, and that was it. You know, that was triggered due to my eczema. So dealing with alopecia areata on top of that, it got worse because I stopped using my medication and I started stressing because of the thinning that has taken place with the seborrheic dermatitis. So whose fault was it? It was my fault. It wasn't anybody else's fault but mine. And you guys know I tried to blame it on circumstances, but it was my fault because I wasn't taking the necessary precautions that I needed to take when it came to my alopecia areata. I was more so focusing on the seborrheic dermatitis because that's what I felt like had caused more, you know, the most of that hair loss the second time around, when in reality it really was me not doing what was necessary for me dealing with alopecia. So you have to make sure that you are taking necessary precautions. And if you do suffer from alopecia areata, what I like to do is I never limit my research, period. I never limit my research. I am always going to find ways that I try my best to, like, research people who deal with alopecia. I look up things that I can use to aid in the hair growth. We have to be careful. We have to really pay attention to what we are doing when it comes to dealing with a scalp condition, because you can't just think that it's gonna be over and done with just because you got this one moment where you're like, oh my gosh, my hair has grown back, I don't have anything to worry about. No, it can come back out, especially if you stop doing the necessary things that you should be doing. When your dermatologist tell you need to be taking care of your hair, you need to be taking care of your hair. And yes, I feel like I was taking care of my hair properly, but not as properly as I should have been. Like, when I first found out I had alopecia and I got the cream and I was using the cream every day and I was eating a healthy diet and I was doing all of this, working out and all of this, drinking plenty of water, I feel like, okay, my hair grew back. I don't want to listen to the internet saying that it could fall back out. I ain't gonna study my dermatologist that told me it could fall back out. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and my hair fell back out. So there are so many ups and downs that come with dealing with a scalp condition, dealing with alopecia, seborrheic dermatitis. That one, me dealing with seborrheic dermatitis is not as bad as the alopecia. The seborrheic dermatitis is basically just the itching, the extreme itching that I was dealing with, and because I have that shampoo that I use every other day, the seborrheic dermatitis is kind of under control. So I dealt with that and got that under control. You know, my eczema is under control because I have the cream that I'm using for my eczema, and the seborrheic dermatitis is something that can be controlled. But the alopecia, on the other hand, is something that you really have to be very, very cautious of and very, very protective of, because that is something that can come and steal your joy at any moment. You know, and it could be bad because, like I said, it can overlap. You know, your one small patch can increase to 2, or in my case, my patches are like big and they start from here, 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 here. You know, I have multiple patches going on in my head, so it's like you gotta be really, really careful. You can't just think that it's gonna be all rose petals and sunshine rainbows because you have a moment where it does grow back, because it can fall back out if you're not taking the necessary precautions needed for it to keep, you know, for the hair follicles to stay there. Be careful. Really take precaution when dealing with your hair, your scalp condition, because you don't want it to fall back out like mine. So don't be hard-headed like me and see a dermatologist. If they want to keep scheduling you appointments, it's because they want to help you, and it's not because they just want your money, honey. Okay? All right, so that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I hope that if you deal with a scalp condition like me, I have told you something that is going to make you take it seriously and not want to just one and done with it like me. So love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Deuces. Mwah.